Behind every scientific breakthrough is a human being who started as a dreamer. Before the math, there was the wonder. Before the physics, there was the feeling of being small beneath a sky that refused to stay silent. We are taught that science is the pursuit of what is real. But for the titans of our history, science was the only way to reach what was impossible. The greatest scientific minds didn't enter the field to solve a puzzle. They entered it to build a map to the places they saw in their dreams. Take Michio Kaku, for example. The world knows him as a master of string theory. But he didn't start his journey by looking at strings. He started by watching Flash Gordon on a grainy television screen. He saw starships and ray guns and faster-than-light travel. He didn't see these things as fiction. He saw them as a technical challenge. Kaku spent his childhood in a library trying to find the math for teleporters. He realized that if the laws of physics didn't forbid it, then it was simply an engineering problem.
I was mesmerized by Flash Gordon. For the first time, I saw this whole new world open up. A world of ray guns and rocket ships and aliens and beings from outer space. And I said to myself, that's for me. But you know, after a while, I began to figure out something. First of all, I didn't have big muscles. I didn't have blonde hair. I was not going to be Flash Gordon. But I realized that it was the scientist behind the scenes that made everything work. Without Dr. Zarkov, there were no cities in the sky. Without him, there were no starships. He made the whole series work. And I began to realize something, and that is science is the engine of prosperity.
The math was just the bridge. The destination was the stars he saw in his favorite stories. For him, science was never about the classroom. It was about the escape. Then there is Carl Sagan, the man who gave the cosmos a voice. Long before he was a global icon, he was a young boy in Brooklyn. He spent his afternoons reading stories of Martians and the red sands of Barsoom. He didn't want to be an astronomer because he loved telescopes. He wanted to be an astronomer to find out if anyone was looking back at him. Sagan realized that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence wasn't a fringe hobby. It was the ultimate question of our existence. The math of planetary atmospheres was just the tool he used to hunt for home. He didn't build the golden record for NASA. He built it for the civilization he believed was waiting in the dark.
What an astonishing thing a book is. It's a flat object made from a tree with flexible parts on which are imprinted lots of funny dark squiggles. But one glance at it, and you're inside the mind of another person. Maybe somebody dead for thousands of years. Across the millennia, an author is speaking clearly and silently inside your head, directly to you. Writing is perhaps the greatest of human inventions, binding together people who never knew each other, citizens of distant epochs. Books break the shackles of time. A book is proof that humans are capable of working magic.
To Sagan, the universe was a crowded neighborhood that we just hadn't met yet. He understood that the layman and the scientist are one and the same. Both are driven by the same existential desire to know if the light we see is a signal or a flicker. Now look at the modern era. Elon Musk didn't build rockets because he wanted to be a billionaire. He built them because he read Isaac Asimov as a child. He read the Foundation series and saw the rise and fall of galactic empires, coming to realize that human history moves in cycles. He saw the peak we are living in now as a fragile window. Musk isn't playing the game of venture capital. He is playing out a script written in the 1950s. SpaceX is his attempt to build the first foundation. It is a lifeboat for the galactic collapse he read about as a young boy. The orbital mechanics and the heat shields are just the logistics of a survival plan. The mission is the dream of a multi-planetary species.
I was thinking about this when I was a kid and trying to find some meaning in life, like what's the meaning of life, you know? I got quite sort of sad about it actually when I was a teenager. And then I read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which basically said like basically the universe is the answer, and you just need to figure out the questions. So I think that's if I can help kind of figure out the questions, then I consider that to be meaningful.
This is the pattern across the entire channel. Stephen Hawking didn't explore black holes just for the physics. He was inspired by the machine mind future. He looked at the inner space of a singularity and saw a way to understand the very beginning of time. He was a mind trapped in a body, but he lived in the event horizon. Neil deGrasse Tyson remembers his first trip to the planetarium. He realized in that moment that his relationship with the night sky was the only thing that mattered. He didn't want to study the stars. He wanted to be part of them.
You don't want your options to be limited when you're asked what do you want to be when you grow up. And the more things you see as a child, the more options you have to reach for if something piques your interest. And for me, a first visit to the planetarium, I'm convinced, in fact, that it was the universe that chose me.
That's what this channel is trying to convey. Any novice who dares care about these topics is no different from the scientists who study them. You are both following the same thread. Science wants you to dream of the implications. It wants you to wonder about the Kardashev scale and the future of our sun. It wants you to ask if we are living in a second attempt at the universe. The mathematics are the cage, but the questions are the exit. When we talk about the Botez void or the Methuselah star, we aren't escaping reality. We are following the data to its logical conclusion. The archive belongs to the dreamers. It belongs to the people who aren't afraid of the what before they know the how. Take Avi Loeb at Harvard. He looks at an interstellar object like Oumuamua and sees a possible technological relic. His peers tell him to look for natural explanations, but Loeb understands that if you tell yourself something doesn't exist, you will never find it.
I want my colleagues to behave more like kids, because as a kid, I remember that, I was mostly curious about the world. I would not be afraid of making mistakes. I wasn't worried about my ego or something really strange happens to those kids that take risks and are not worried about themselves so much. Something bad happens to them when they become tenured professors in academia. Tenure is supposed to give you the freedom to explore, directions that may turn out to be wrong. That's what Einstein demonstrated at the end of his career. So you would expect people to take advantage of that. But instead, once professors become tenured for life, meaning that there is no risk to their job, they are starting to pursue honors and awards, status, recognition.
Yeah.
They are afraid of making mistakes. They build these echo chambers where they have students and postdocs repeating their mantras so that their voice will sound louder, so that they will get even more recognition. Now, I say this, the scientific inquiry is not about us.
He is a scientist who refuses to let the math kill the imagination. We have to stop treating science merely as a collection of facts. It is a collection of possibilities. The passion for the stars is what keeps the lights on in the observatory. The implications of the data is what keeps the spirit of humanity alive. That is why we built this channel, why we dare to dream of the implications. And that is why you're here. You don't need a doctorate to understand the dread of the vacuum or the beauty of exoplanets. You only need to be brave enough to look up and imagine the possibilities.